My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And it's a birthday. Oh, happy birthday. It's time for Jessie. You turned some age that we're not going to say because there's no
Very old.
Yeah,
it's a big number.
Old enough.
Old enough.
Okay? Old enough. All right? And for anyone who's listened to us for 5 years, you know that on our birthdays, or even just a year, you would know this, we get to dictate, we get to put the iron fist down and dictate what episode we do. One episode that no one else can argue with. We have to do it. We're not, it makes it sound like we're picking things that people don't want to do. Usually it's like things that everyone's cool with. So it's not
Thus far, we have not abused that power.
No, we've never done something awful.
Thus far.
Like, we definitely could. We won't, because, like, we like each other. So, like, this isn't one of those podcasts where we turn off the cameras and we're like, oh, fuck those bitches. Like, no, we genuinely like each other. This is fine, okay? We pick good episodes. And it's Jessie's birthday. And Jessie, where are you bringing us this year? What beautiful path are we trotting on this year for your birthday?
There is a group that I kind of like a little bit, you know, it's just kind of in passing. And they are coming back, like literally the day that this is releasing, they're coming back. And I thought like, oh, we should do an episode on it. However, we had already done an episode on them. but
that was many years ago.
And things have happened since then. And it was a shared episode. So
it was.
You know what? We're just gonna talk about, if you haven't guessed it already, Day6, what they've been doing since December of 2019, because that's when that last episode happened. It's not gonna be crazy. We're just gonna, you know, talk about what they've been doing and maybe talk about some of the new albums that came out in that time and just some things that have happened, because there have been things that have happened with the group. But yeah, just mostly just talk about them because I really, really like them. And that's all I'm doing these days is listening to Day6 and consuming their content, because I'm very, very excited about this comeback. Because it's been a while for them.
I always love when we do these intros, like, we're like, what are we going to talk about? As though the person didn't read the title of the episode before clicking play. Like, we could be lying in our titles. You never know.
You know what? They could be doing the thing where they're like, they're in Spotify and they're on their, like,
just
the episodes that have just come out and it, like, starts playing. So maybe someone's out there didn't guess it.
There's one person out there who didn't know the topic.
Or didn't know what group I really, really like. What I've been talking about.
A single person.
You know. But yeah, I guess we should just talk about Day6.
Dive in.
Should we do first, if you like have never really listened to Day6 or know of Day6, we can do like a very quick spiel about
for the new Day6.
Yeah, we won't go
the future Day6 fans.
The future Day6 fans.
We don't know yet.
We won't go too heavily into it. We'll just, you know, give you a little rundown, and you could also listen to that episode that we were referring to. It's the Day6 I'm Flying episode. But yeah, so
from way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
It was forever ago.
And then even way back in the day, more than that, a little group debuted on September 7th, 2015 under JYPE, Day6. They originally had 6 members, just so you know. We're currently at 4, but they originally were 6 at the time.
We don't think about that too much, you know.
They had a phase where they really liked Maroon 5 and they took the name, and then just things happened. They debuted with the song Congratulations. Day6 is a idol band. They are not like other idols. Just not. They were formed kind of sporadically and potentially the going theory and the going like thing that everybody keeps on saying is that JYP had this trainee, his name was Sungjin, and they really, really liked him a lot. However, Sungjin is really, really good at singing and really, really bad at everything else to being an idol. They really wanted to keep him though. Like
it's true.
Like JYP, like notoriously, like as the company, they have like all these things that you have to do and all these things that you have to pass. And especially at that time, they were still very much into acrobatics and stuff and very dance heavy. So that was the main reason why Sungjin was just like, I can't do this dancing thing. I just can't. But they really wanted to like keep him on, so they decided like to toy with the idea of having a band, and they had already started to like toy with the idea of bands debuting under JYP. If you know the last half of Wonder Girl's life, they formed a band. The members started playing instruments. And so they were like, okay, this will be perfect. We can keep Sungjin and he won't have to dance. This will be great. So 5 out of the 6 original members of Day6 were idol trainees at JYP. And originally they had like kind of formed together, and like Sungjin was doing like percussion stuff. And so like that's where they had him. And then they were like, no, we need a drummer. So enter Doan, who is not a trainee. He just was like hired as a drummer. And he came on, and then they moved Sungjin to guitar, which I think is like very funny that like Sungjin was like, I can't do dancing, but I'm going to learn the guitar in like 6 months to play.
Right?
That's a little odd. So they formed as a band, and now here we are. Many years
moons later,
and we're only at 4 people, which we'll talk about later a little bit. We won't talk about it a lot because it's sad, and I want it to be a happy episode. But you have the members. You have Sungjin, who's the leader. He's a guitarist. You have Young K, who is bassist. Then Wonpil, who is keyboards and synthesizer. And Doan, who is drummer. They all sing, even Doan now. They've made him sing. The other members, Jay was another guitarist, and then I don't remember the other members of the name off the top of my head because he was basically there for an album or the first like, single, and then left. But he was actually the keyboardist. So Wonpil grabbed that when he left because Wonpil was just like synthesizer. So yeah, that's Day6 in a nutshell. Anybody want to say anything else that they think that like anybody would need to know about Day6?
Well, I just looked up the dude. His name was Junhyuk.
Yeah,
if anyone was really curious about.
He really hasn't done much since that whole thing, so I'm sorry. Like, there's not. And Jay is doing still things, but like the other guys, not much.
Congratulations is incredibly popular. Was it incredibly popular right out of the gate? That's what I was trying to remember.
I don't think it was that like much.
Kind of.
It might have been like a little bit just because it was completely different. But it wasn't like popular. Like the one of the people that are in it, who's an actor, is the kid from oh gosh, like Parasite and a bunch of stuff. But like at that time, like he wasn't like a super well known actor, so there wasn't that draw. I think they did well, but not as well as they could have been for a JYP group, which is kind of like par for the course, especially for the boys, guys.
Trying something new.
It's like there weren't a lot of bands, like idol bands out there at that time too. I mean, like still really aren't, even though we've gained a lot more since then. And it was this kind of like brand new thing. But they kind of steadily got popular, like especially with their song "You Were Beautiful," and they got popular because it was very, very well received by the general populace.
Yeah.
And also like elsewhere in Asia. So that kind of like cemented their like popularity, and I think that's like where they lived for like a long time, is being popular for some of their songs being just like general popular, but like not K-pop people listening to them.
Yeah.
They also are like a rock band, like they play rock, which is not the favorite genre in Korea on a whole. So they already had that kind of like stopping them from really gaining popularity.
I love Wonpil, if anyone needs to
yeah, like he's a bias.
I love Wonpil. To say about Day6 is that Wonpil's my fave, and I just love him and think he's great.
I mean, how can you not love Wonpil? He's like the sweetest human alive.
And he's just like, for this, we'll talk about this later, but Even of Day, we'll get into Even of Day, made this like variety show, and it just shows how incompetent he is at everything except for playing the keyboard, and you're just like,
so sweet though. He's
earnest, okay? He wants to do good, but just he's unlucky at things, you know? He needs help. He needs help.
You always just want to be like, I'm going to protect you at all costs. I mean, like, all the members also feel that way about, like, Wonpil, too. So.
Yeah.
It's good that he's a part of a team.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, this is really a good kismet for him.
Was potentially going to be in God 7. Think about that.
Wow. Poor man would not have survived. He would not have survived.
Yeah, right? I think it's crazy.
I was rewatching the Young K interview with Eric Nam today, and he was talking about like being in JYP and like not being acrobatic at all, and like working every night to get the backflip, and he came and he was like, I got it, I can backflip. And they're like, that's nice, we're putting you in a band. Cool. Like, great.
Oh, thanks.
But also when he's talking, I think it was that one that when he's talking to Eric, he's saying like, well, and why did they do a band? And he's like, Sunjin's got an incredible voice. He's also got like an incredible way of being. His dancing is.
He tries his best.
It was so special. We needed a band. It was like, oh.
Okay.
That's just the way some musicians are. Yeah. Like, I was watching Immortal Songs recently, and there was a crossover group. I can't think of the name right now. It wasn't Forestell, it was a different one. But anyway, it was La Poème. That's their name. And they were doing a cover of a TVXQ song, and so it was Matronic, and they were gonna try to dance it. And they worked like for a week or two, and then they showed it to the writers of the show, and the writers were like, "You are not ever allowed to dance. No, never, never.
They tried their best.
That's all that matters."
But
sometimes
good.
Musicians can just do singing and their instrument, and that is amazing.
Yeah. What's really funny is there's like an ongoing like joke in the fandom that Sungjin is the main dancer of Day6 because he can't dance, but he's always willing to dance.
Yeah.
Just not choreographed stuff. He's always willing to be like crazy and like dance. And so then like anytime there's like any like attempt of dancing like made for Sungjin, everybody's like, oh, main dancer of Day6 right there.
And you know what? To give the band credit, today, just this morning, I watched a video of someone teaching him tap dancing, and he was not the worst tap dancer I've ever seen in my life.
Like, I feel like they could have done more. My personal feeling about like what Day6 is that like they really liked Sungjin's voice, and Sungjin's voice is not a pop voice, and they really wanted to keep that. So they were like, oh, we need you in like a role that would be highlighting your voice in a different way. and
Yeah.
like a rock band situation where we can have you on like heavy vocals is the way to go. I feel like he could have like trained a little bit more and then just been fine. But I don't know what group I would put him in at this point. Like,
right.
I mean, like,
yeah,
all the members I can't really, except for Young K. Like, he really, like, Young K was like a good dancer and like a good like all around idol when he was training. Like,
yeah,
if you've seen Dream High, he's one of the like background dancers for like a lot of the scenes in there. So like Young K out of the group, like not talking about Doan, because like Doan is not like a trainee like at all. Like he just, you know, answered a
they
drummer
needed a
ad.
drummer.
Yeah, basically, or I guess his like teacher or something had a connection. I don't know. But yeah, I like. I just don't like what group would Sungjin be in at this point. Like, it's not Day6. I guess that's the reason they're like, really, this is it for Sungjin.
Yeah.
He could have. I could see him fitting in well with like B2B or something. Like he could work in a group like that. But
then he would have had to leave JYP, and they're like, no.
What was going? Yeah, exactly.
No.
We're not.
And no one wants to be at Cube. Let's just be honest about that information.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I guess we all got lucky that JYP was like, okay, let's do this band thing. And then they did the band thing. And despite like not being super popular, like they're not the most popular in JYPE, like they've lasted a long enough time that like nobody from the company was like, yeah, let's just like call this, you know? So there's that. So
yeah.
They have a big body of work at this point. Huge.
That's also another thing about Day6 is that they write and produce most of their stuff by themselves. They do have like other writers and producers that come in, but for the most part, like at least one member of the group is on each of those sites, and the one person that is the most on it is Young K. So he's like basically writing songs for every song on every album that Day6 has ever produced. Just like crazy. It's just like wild to me that like someone's like that good at writing and they did not join JYP to be a writer. Yeah.
It is what it is, man. Like kismet.
He's also such a good radio host.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a
very,
good like
very good.
He's got that good like kind of like just announcer personality type of person, you know.
Always fun. He's also good at supporting other like groups and not just JYP groups. Like he's good. Those types of hosts on especially like idol radio type shows and Kiss the Radio and things like that. Like it's just very good at what he does.
He's also
like, he's a very
like,
sincere, seeming like supportive person.
And he like especially in the very beginnings of his like the radio station when they were still trying to like pick up like popularity to get like artists on and artists wanting to be on. He was very vocal about getting a lot of the younger band groups, idol groups on. And so he was like constantly showcasing them, which I think is really cool of him to like kind of make that space so that like he can be like, these are other people in my like specific branch off of K-pop like that need some love too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of things have happened since 2019, but like a lot of things haven't happened too. So pretty much basically right into 2020, like really like right before their Book of Us, the Demon album, things kind of went crazy in the group. Not crazy, but they announced that that Jae and Sungjin would be going on a hiatus. So they would like release the album, but they weren't going to do any of the promotions or anything like that. So you wouldn't see them. And that kind of like is the start of like going into like the military like era of Day6. But they have had a lot of like albums come out since 2019, and I thought I would list them just to kind of give you a rundown of it. So they released Best Day 2, which is a Japanese mini album, and that was like right after our episode aired in December. And then so the Book of Us, the Demon album came out, and then the Book of Us Glue On came out, and this is their first time not as Day6, but it was attached to Day6 albums. This is their Even of Day subunit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's still like Day6, but like not Day6. And then they came back. Their last full member, 5-person full member, come back was the Book of Us Negentropy. And then that's when Sungjin was like, bye, I'm going to the military. And then so Even Today was like, cool, we're gonna start doing stuff. So they did the mini album Right Through Me. And then Young K had a solo album called Eternal. Wonpil had a solo album called Filmography. And then just recently, after like all the military era has happened, Young K just came out with Letters with Notes, which was the end of last year. So they've done a lot, but not a lot as well, considering that was 2020 when the first initial wave of Jay and Sungjin halting their activities with the group. But like also we have military in there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like sorry.
Pandemic.
Oh yeah. The pandemic was like
pandemic time too, right? So like that's
like that was like when they were starting to like they had just come off of like a world tour also, and I can't remember if like maybe their like last stops were canceled or not. I can't remember because they were like overseas, I feel like, when things were starting to like be potentially a thing.
That's not.
So like I remember like very clearly like watching a live, and it was like Young K and Jay, and they were really excited because they had just booked Head Over Clouds concert that was going to be happening. And then like right after that is when like lots of like shutdowns and stuff, and then like that concert got canceled, and that was like kind of when it started to kind of like just like seem a little bit off. Like everybody was all, I mean like everybody in the world was off. And the announcement for Sungjin and Jay was like so weird because JYP didn't do a good job in it, and I don't know like obviously we don't know exactly what went on, and so it could have been like a last minute decision like per the members. But when they started the like comeback for that Demon album, like it was just like really weird. Like it was really rushed. They're like the comeback schedule was like I think a week before the actual album.
Yeah, it was
like
bizarre,
really weird. And then like literally the day before they were going to do their comeback is when like JYP sent out their statement. And so it was just like a really weird time. But like because of that, and because like the rest of the group was still actively performing and they weren't going to the military like right away, they kind of try to figure out how to do like work within these things because they wanted to give the members space to do whatever they needed to do for their health and stuff, but like they also still have to like perform. So they created the subunit. So it was like Young K, Wonpil, and Do, and they created this subunit called Even of Day, and produced kind of some things. And when that first like album that they did with Even of Day, it still was very like much like we're doing this for now, but everybody's going to be here, because their like title track for that album had this like really like very sweet but like also made you want to cry music video that was like an animated of all their denimals, which is their like because like you know everybody does it now, but like JYP really was the leader of like animals representing like idols, but like also being like part of their universe. Like it's this very sweet one where it's like the three of them are like very like you know, like we'll be together forever type thing. It was a very cute thing. That didn't really happen because obviously not everybody's together, but even if Day became a little bit more, especially after Sungjin and Jay also, like they were just like not doing well, and Sungjin leaving for military, even if Day kind of happened a little bit more aggressively. And in that time it was like a little bit also weird because I feel like nobody knew if like Studio J and JYP were gonna even keep up with Day6 because it was kind of feeling like really bad. Like you're like, oh great, I love that they're like allowing these people to have the space to like focus on their mental health, but like it also already started to feel weird with Day6 at this point.
Yeah.
But they did do like some fun things, and like the three of them together are very fun together. So you got
like, it is very fun. It is
like a very like didn't know what was happening with the group kind of time. They did a lot of stuff, and Natalia alluded to some of the things that they did. I will say that a lot of it is not subbed. That's also a key in this. Is like when you can't find a lot of even of Day stuff subbed in English, that's when you know they're really like stepping back from like putting all their effort into things. But they did a bunch of different things, but they did this kind of like homestay type like reality show where they just got together and stayed together. And there's this like running joke that like Wonpil's really bad at making seaweed soup, and he does it in this as well too. And the boys are they're so sweet that even if they're hate so it, kind, they will eat the entire thing and say it's the greatest thing in the world, because like Wonpil like will over salt or over MSG the like thing that he's making.
Let me tell you, watching him put like, I was like, dude, no, dude, stop, dude. But
and they're very sweet. They're like really sweet. It's like you can tell that they're like having trouble eating it because it's so like salty. But they're like not making fun of him at all. Too. They're not like doing like the kind of like making a play out of it too. They're like really like we're just thankful that like Wonpil made us our soup. They also did a lot, like I think like the most that you're gonna find with like even if Day content is a lot of their like live performances. They kept on doing like live performances of their songs. They went on Yoo-Hee-Jill's sketchbook and that sort of thing. So like even if Day like they haven't like said anything about that unit if they're gonna ever do anything now. But at the time they kind of were just kind of like focusing more on not doing like actual things with the group and like variety show appearances, but like kind of mostly just like sticking to the music side. But at the time Younghae was doing a lot of stuff because Younghae does a lot of stuff. He ended up that's when he was on Idol Radio a lot. He was also doing a lot of lives. Like he was like, it's crazy how much Younghae can do. I don't know how he has the energy. Yeah. It's like ridiculous to me. He's like,
it's always mystifying.
He's always writing songs, and then he was literally doing like, because this was also like pandemic time, Jessie laid off time. I was watching every member of Day6 was like coming out. I was there. It didn't matter what time it was. I was there, and Younghae would do this thing where on his way to work for Idol Radio, he would have a live. So like the entire trip to Idol Radio station, he would do a live. So it was like every day he was doing a live, and then he'd go to Idol Radio, and then sometimes he would do a live afterwards. But then he was also doing this series that he kind of started like pre-pandemic, pre-everything going on, but like he really put a lot of effort in, and where he was doing every month he was releasing a cover. And it was like kind of produced. And then on top of that, he was like, let me give you all the guides and all these like songs that like I have that like nobody ever picked up and we never did for Day6. So like, here you go. And like, he was like constantly doing stuff during the pandemic. it's crazy. And
wouldn't be me.
Yeah, no.
Wouldn't be me. That's all I gotta say. I'd be like, ooh, pandemic, ooh, gonna stay home. Okay.
Yeah. Wonpil also did solo stuff. This is like, if you've ever been in K-pop, you know that like a lot of people do solo stuff and then enlist. That's kind of like the thing is like, here's your enlistment present, my solo album that I'm gonna give to you, and then enlist. And then Dowoon was just, being Dowoon.
There. He was existing. He was doing his own thing,
Dowoon's always kind of like, he's so like much fun, but he's like definitely the like, I wasn't trained as an idol person, and so it's like, this is a fun life, but I never had your hardships ever, haha. And I'm the name of the group.
Yeah, like, listen, I'm here to drum, to fish, and to have a deep voice.
That's all.
That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
And now he's really into plants too.
He's into plants, and he also, when he like shows pictures on Bubble and does video on Bubble, it's literally doing the most mundane things. It's like, here, I'll show you how I fold my sweatshirt. You're like, okay.
No, like, he's really into folding. Like, even on that like homestay thing, he was like, ruthless about how Wonpil folded his underwear, and was on video being like, no, Wonpil, this is how you properly fold underwear, and like folding Wonpil's underwear, being like, look how nice this is when it's folded right. And you're just like, all right, calm down, buddy. Like,
Dowoon also is the only member currently that's not in the dorms. He actually like moved out, and he's like, just today he released a little like video. It's like a I live alone type of video, like, but not. It's just like from his YouTube channel that I haven't gotten to watch yet because I've been at work like basically since like I started recording. And like, it's him just like showing all of the home stuff that he got. He's like, and Young K gave me this vacuum, and Sungjae gave me this microwave, and it's really great. And he's very much like the domestic person of the group. But like, really quickly, I'm going to go back to military stuff, and then we can talk about like new stuff from Day6 and just talk about anything random Day6. But I just wanted to say, like, like the way that they did military is like kind of like weird. Like, not weird. It's just like they did, every one of them except for like Dowoon did like a very different thing, and it was like kind of very sporadic. So Sungjin decided that he was going to do a live on his way to go enlist. So he started a live after like barely having doing anything, because he really was like very much off of like a lot of things, except for like he did a lot of lives where he was like walking at night towards the end when he was trying to get better. But like he hadn't done anything, and then he like turned on live, and it's him with a shaved head, and he's just going to join the army. So that was our first military experience. Young K actually joined KTUSA, which is the Korean Armed Forces that are with the United States Army. It's actually like a pretty, like, you have to do a lot of stuff to get into it, and he was the first K-pop idol to ever join the unit. They like he had to do like a full like English exam to pass to get in, which is also something I didn't tell you about. When he was doing those lives every morning, he was translating all of his stuff into English as he was talking. So like, someone would say something and he would translate what they said, and then he would say the like answer in Korean, and then he translated it into English.
Wild.
So he did that, and then Dowoon was next on the like going into the military, and he actually joined the band, which is like perfect for Dowoon. He had a great time, I guess. Like, it's Dowoon. He just like seems like he always has like the best time wherever he is. He can just like whatever. And then Wonpil actually joined the Navy, which he was the first idol to ever join the Navy. So like, he ended up doing that, like, I think because the Navy has a shorter enlistment period, and was trying to make it so that they all came back. And just as like at this time, Jay was still part of Day6, but Jay is not Korean, like birth certificate wise. So he did not have to enlist anywhere. So there was no military for him. But yeah, now we're back into present day, because this is the reason why we're doing this episode now, is because they're finally coming back. It is just the 4 of them, because Jay did part ways with the group after leaving JYP. But he is still doing music, so if you're like interested in that, he's just recently released some stuff. I know not everybody is fond of him. But I personally was there for a lot of things that people said he did and he did not do. So
he didn't do them. Yeah.
I was literally there for the lives that like got taken out of context, and I was like, I know he's done some other things too, but I feel like he has done a lot more than a lot of other people that are currently still around and doing things and being able to like have a fan base. So I still listen and support Jay. So there's that. I know not everybody wants to, but that's my thing on that.
It's a personal,
sounds like
personal decision.
He's worked on himself
Absolutely.
too.
Like I don't think I really haven't ever seen another idol who's done stuff that like has worked as much on like outside things as he has. So, and like there are people who've done a lot worse than Jay will ever do. But for the most part, he didn't do most of the things he's being like claimed to do. So
accused of.
Yeah, it was very weird. It's still a very weird time.
Wait, are you telling me that there's just K-pop fans online who make shit up about things?
Yeah, and just
all the time?
And are totally okay
videos,
destroying people's careers and livelihoods.
Shocking.
And like this,
it's almost like this happens so often that you'd think companies would take it a lot more seriously than they do.
What crazy?
I digress.
Yes. But now we're here. Now we're here. Jay is doing his own stuff, and the 4 are coming up finally because they finally all got out of their military. Like literally, Wonpil being the last person in the military, he just got back. Like so, this is a very, very crazy turnaround. But it is Day6. They all write their own songs, and they probably have had these songs written for ages. So that end, they're like pretty good with things. And I think this also was a good thing for Sungjin because he had like more than like he had like a longer time to work on the things that were like hurting him. So like he's been able to come back like in a really good spot, which is like really great to see. So although there is some like sadness around this comeback, I'm very excited for it. Like personally, as like a fan, I've had other groups where things have dissolved and it never was like this too. So I'm very like I'm glad personally for me because like Day6 really was like one of the only things getting me through a pandemic, like literally. And I'm glad that like. Even with the Rocky stuff, it was never anything that like really tore the group up for me. So that was like a really great thing. But now we're like entering into a new just kind of time of Day6. And I don't know if their sound will change. I don't think they will, because if you listen to Even of Day, their sound really hasn't changed that much. It's just like more synthesized.
No. Right.
And I think that's just like mostly, and like also like Young K has to be guitar, which he knows how to play the guitar. He actually went into the company knowing how to play guitar. But like, I have a feeling that it's going to kind of be the same type of things. Because I feel like even like Young K's been doing a lot of stuff. Like he writes a lot, especially now he's been writing a lot of songs for people. And you just can tell it's like a Day6 song when another person sings it. You're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, like the NMIX song, the
yeah.
Even if you and like anything that like Young K has done that like it sounds like Day6.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like anything's going to be different with Day6. However, the album actual preview is happening in a couple of hours, so I guess we'll see when that drops, because we'll actually be able to hear something that's more than just like Wonpil singing like 3 words.
Yes.
Like we have at this point. in the comeback teasers. I of course have bought a bunch of albums.
Shocker.
Shocker. The girl who collects all their cards, even their pre-order benefits. This is
we could have not seen this
hard time.
Your bank account is crying, okay?
My bank account is crying. I've been like planning for it, but it's crying, and it will cry even more if like Day6 then is like, hey, let's do a tour, because I feel like they're gonna do a tour soon. But like that's what everybody's doing now too, because tours are, if you don't know, tours and merch are the main suppliers of budgets for any sort of music person. It's not their music alone. So everybody's been itching to go back on tours because that's where the money is. And also JYP, how many months ago, they signed some deal with one of the tour producers, like major tour, like maybe Live Nation. And they had like a little announcement on their like socials, and had like, you know, clips of all the people who are at JYP, and they showed Day6 in that lineup, so I'm sure that a concert's coming. And I saw those in Hypen prices, and
roof, okay.
I looked at the Hypen seats that literally were our seats for Monsta X, and they were like $400.
Ours were like $80.
Yeah. I'm like, I love you guys, but like,
damn.
So if anyone is in the market for a soul, Jessie will be willing to exchange.
Yeah, Jesus.
Right? Can I do pay in 4 with Ticketmaster?
Fuck, that's ridiculous.
Afterpay. Oh, but I am very excited because we've got like new stuff happening, and like they're showing up a lot more. Like all the members are doing a lot more stuff too. I feel like this is a really good like mental spot for everyone. Like obviously Young K is blowing up, like hugely popular in his radio, and he's done a lot of like other variety stuff, and like he's become the favorite. Like all the companies are like fighting over him for like him to come and do stuff with them. Sungjin started a YouTube channel. It's like really cool. I don't know if like any of you watched it. It's like, it's cool. Like it, like I love it, like does a lot of like different things, and he's got like kind of a new series attached in the YouTube, but like he does a lot of stuff with just like the managers, and he's so funny with them. Like there's one where he decides he wants to go take a hike up the mountain, so it's basically all the management stuff and Sungjin, and like the girls peace out like not even halfway through. They're like bye, and he's like, but wait, and then, like it like ends up with like one manager who's like actively talking to the entire time, and the camera guy he's like asking them if they like to like hike and stuff, and they're like no, and he's like oh, and the camera guy's like, I'm literally only here because it's my job. Sungjin's like, oh, I'm sorry, I like this. But he's also been doing like these interview things where he'll like pick up someone and interview them in the car, and then he'll go to a spot, and then he'll make them a meal like that, like it's a drink and the like meal, and then they'll like talk more. And he has been doing stuff that's like outside of JYP too, and that so it's really cool. And he gets all the people who come to like decorate like a cup, so he has them all like lined up, like everybody's like decorated cups, and he's not good with cooking things also. So like he was what was the latest one? It's one of the guys from B2B, and he made cookies, and he's like, oh, they must be done, and they like open up, and he's like, oh no, and then you just see smoke come out of the oven, and then he's like, oh, okay, well I tried.
You know, artists sometimes they could just do their art, and that's okay.
That's fine.
I know.
You can't be good at everything.
Like, so funny to me. Like, Sungjin is really like, he's so just, you feel like he's just like very like cold and like not like, you just like don't get much of a like, he's not always joking around, and he's just like, you feel like he's just kind of like a stone cold thing, and then he'll like just do the most random thing. You're like, oh, that's not who you are at all. It's just like
you're just awkward.
You maybe shouldn't be an idol. Like he's like awkward as an idol, but like not awkward. And then like you're like, oh, I just never would have thought like you would be into that. And like he's actually like a like pretty like into like being around people and an extrovert and like just like talking to new people, which you don't pick up from because he's so like reserved in a lot of like this stuff. And you think that like some of the other members are like the ones who are like very like outgoing and stuff, and they're very much not. Like Wonpil and Doan very much are not, but like you get Wonpil and Doan in the same room, and especially now because like Doan is like very excited that everybody is back and that we're doing stuff, and he's like, I mean, he is a puppy. He like does that thing where it's like, oh my god, everybody's here and I'm so excited that everybody's here, like all the time.
It's like, Wonpil, play with me, and Wonpil's like, hang on, buddy.
Yeah.
Not like, all right, don't worry, I will. Like,
calm down. And he does that like, he's like the annoying little brother, and he does this thing like they did a photo shoot, one of those like very professional like family portrait studio kind of
ridiculous
shoots. It's ridiculous. Like Epic High also did this same thing, and it's like great, it's wonderful. And it's like them like in suits and very like poised, and they have like Doan like, you know, because he's the youngest, and so he's like very clearly like, you know, like they pose him, or like, you know, Sungjin looking up at him like fondly and stuff like that. And they were doing an interview like in the behind the scenes stuff, and they're talking about it, and like Doan was like, they were talking about something, and then Doan was like, do you think of us as a family? I think Sungjin was talking, and he was like, do you think of us as a family? And Sungjin immediately was like, yeah, I've always thought that. Like, I've always like felt like you guys were like my family members. And then he goes to like Doan, he's like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, just like professional, like we're a professional relationship. And then Younghae goes, I personally feel that everyone's like part of my family here except for Doan. And like Doan's like professional. And then Doan, like, he immediately is like, but wait, no.
I was just kidding. Usually I'm like, you mean it for real? What do you mean?
You just they're fun. I like them a lot. If you've never actually like gone to look at Day6 together, they're actually hilarious. And I wish, so Jay used to have a YouTube channel that he did at the very beginning when they were trying to like gain notoriety and stuff, and he did a lot of vlogs. He's since like taken a lot of that stuff down because I'm just gonna tell you, fans suck. And even when Jay was actively being very nice and promoting all of the Day6 stuff and not being in Day6, people were attacking him for that. So he can't talk about Day6 anymore because people just keep on attacking him. And so he took down all of these really great videos that they have. And they have like a lot of stuff, like when they were producing songs, they would like need some sound, like crickets or something in the middle of the night. And so they would all just like go out in the middle of the night on these benches and stuff. And they're so funny because they're so random and they're so like different because they're like, they are trained to be idols, but like they're not idols. And like the way that they like, especially in the earlier days, they were set up like very clearly JYP wanted them to like kind of be different in terms of like what they presented themselves and stuff. But like they're just so funny. Like when you get them together, it's just hilarious. And then Doan is like the funniest one because he's like constantly just talking about how he thinks that all the other members are annoying, and then he'll be like, you know, then talk about like some like really nice thing that he's done, and he's like talking about how great like Sungjin is, and you're like, come on, Doan, you're just being an annoying brother. And we talked about like Doan his fishing thing, and he's
passionate.
And when I say he's like into fishing, he's into fishing. Like he like apparently is talking about it so much that he like has started to every single time like he's with them and he talks about fishing, he gets self-conscious and he's like, I'm talking about fishing again too much. I need to stop. I need like Aww. He vocalizes it. And they're like, just keep talking, it's fine. But he's in love. And so he decided, because this is the type of idol group they are, he decided that he was going to do this thing for fans where he would go and catch them fish and clean them and give them to him. And so he made this set number for him, like to like get all these fish. And then he just went out fishing. And the group, so at this point, Doan is not at the dorm anymore too. So he's in his own place. And so the group is like, I don't know if he's back from fishing yet. I haven't heard from him. It was like a 2-week span of like no one hearing from Doan because he was fishing for this like fan thing he was doing. And like Sungjae would be like, yeah, I guess he's been out there for a really long time. And then like Young K would be at the radio station. He's like, yeah, it's been a while. I hope he's okay.
I was watching the video where Sungjin went and picked up Young K after the military, and like they're sitting, eating, chatting, and it's like, oh, what's Doan up to? Fishing. Oh, that's good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Fishing.
Lots of fishing.
They did a video, like it was right before pretty soon before they announced their comeback and stuff, but it was after everyone was back from the military, and so they were kind of chatting about stuff. And Doan was talking about they were asking these questions of like this or that type of question, and so it was very much if you could only fish or be a plant dad, like which would you pick? And he was like, oh man, like he really had to think about it. And so like I guess the plant dad thing is like the newer thing that he's into. So he eventually was like, the plant dad thing. it was just so funny. He was just being so serious about it, to like, this is an important answer that I need to actually really think about. And they were just you could tell they all like have everyone else doesn't really have skin in the game, but they're like, we're so supportive of whichever one you're gonna pick. It's totally fine.
It's okay.
And they're like, plant dad, cool man.
Like very like they're like dorks, but like in like I know that like most K-pop kids are dorks because like most of them are theater kids, and theater kids are inherently dorks. But and like a lot of times it's like played up because it is like something that's like very like it's fun to watch like someone not be like so like perfect, but they really are, and they do it in the most like strange ways too. It's like they'll do something and you won't even clock it, and then like a day later you're like, wait, what? That was like what they're doing, and it's just like so random.
They're just so delightful.
Also, it feels very low-key to watch them. Like, it's hard to explain. So, despite the fact that they can seem, the quote-unquote chaotic, that, like, every K-pop, there's different levels of chaotic that everybody has. Like, ATEEZ has a very specific, different version than, like, Day6 does or something. Yeah. But Day6, whenever I watch them, even when they're being a little bit more high-strung or silly, it still feels, like, comforting to me. Like, it's a more chill version, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're not like super crazy, and I think like I feel like their chaotic is chaotic because they're so different than each other. Yes. Like I feel like there are some groups that are chaotic, and it's just because they all are that same personality, so they really match up, and then it gets heightened. Like I think like Stray Kids and ATEEZ and like Dreamcatcher do that, where they're just like they start to match up really fast, and then, like, that's how it spirals. And like Day6 is chaotic because each one of them is so different. And like maybe closest would be like Wonpil and Doan together. Like their chaoticness is pretty close to each other because they're very like, we're the youngest of the group and we'll just like be off on our own little world. But like still like it's just so like it really does feel kind of that like family dynamic, because like when you're like brothers and sisters like or you don't always like are like super close to them, but like you're close to them in that sense that you're always with them, and so you all like naturally have these like hidden jokes and like just like being around each other now, but like you're still like very much different people. You're just kind of been thrown together, which I mean they were thrown together. They're a K-pop group. Like they did not like come to each other.
No, this wasn't an organically made band by any stretch of the imagination.
Despite the people that were mad that Jay said that, it's true. They did not form like organically. Like
just telling the truth. Like
like like oh well, you know. Yeah. I think that's like kind of it on what I had on like some of the things that have happened.
So in kind of more recent things, what would you like the main things that you'd recommend like someone go check out? Like don't miss.
I feel like you shouldn't miss Sungjin's YouTube channel.
So
like
fun.
Honestly, like it's so fun, and you really do get like Sungjin in a completely different light. Like because he's so like he's just like a really cool guy. Like that's how he is. He's very cool. Like he's just like is a very good talker. Like, and he listens to people, and like he's just like got like such a variety on that YouTube channel because it's there are the like interviews that he's been doing recently. He does go out like to do some fun things with people. Like he does go fishing with Doan. But like he also has done a lot of like just like kind of Q&As or like just like where like the management will ask a question and he'll answer it, and it's just like very random too. Like so there'll be like different things, like not even like Day6 or like music questions. They're kind of like, if this happened, or like what would you react to? And so like you get a little bit more into who Sungjin is in those, and Sungjin like always has been very kind of like standoffish in terms of like interviews and that sort of thing. So like I feel like this is where you can get like most of his personality that you would never do. Like Young K's everywhere. You should do the UJ Suck thing with him where he joins.
You know,
one top.
The joke band. That's the only way to call it.
The joke band. I mean, like they technically did debut. They went on.
When I tell you that song,
music
is on my regular rotation on the Cleaning Bangers playlist. Regular rotation on the Cleaning Bangers playlist. Like
that's like definitely one. Especially because it is subbed. Sadly, the radio station that he's on currently, which he's on like almost every day, it's not a sub situation. You might get like live subs happen on Twitter and stuff, but like if you don't know Korean, I don't think you're gonna get much out of that radio show with him, like unless you find maybe like one of his guests are very popular, so they'll like get translated. But like also I will say that like his cover series that he did, if you want to listen to like Young K like do a bunch of different songs, it's really great. Wonpil also did a cover thing as well, like a cover series. He's also done some acting stuff. He was in a web series called Midnight Sun. Or not Midnight Sun. Midnight Sun is the musical that he was in. Best like mistake. Yes, I keep on saying best hit, but it's not.
It's not best hit. That's a different. That's a different thing.
Yes. He's the like series, and you know he did his solo stuff. And then Doan actually has just started his YouTube channel. So if you want to see a lot of his like fishing stuff, you should go. Especially okay, so I have a secret bias in Day6, and it's not one of the members of Day6. There's a manager that they have, and she is the funniest person alive. And you see her first in Sungjin stuff, and now like in Doan stuff, and she's hilarious. Like there's one episode that Sungjin goes ice fishing, And she's in the background also ice fishing because like he was in one spot, and I guess like everybody around, like if they weren't like actively doing stuff for the thing, they just went and like, grabbed a hole and like and he had to move because of the lighting or whatever, and so then she was in the background, and like every once in a while you can hear her yelling and then screaming, and then she catches a fish before Sungjin. So funny. And then she's also helping Doon when he's like fishing too, and so you see her in the background. She's
so what you're saying is, so, like, you want Day6 on the manager so that she can be on that as well.
Absolutely, she's so funny. Like a lot of the like managers are very funny, and if you ever want to like know their managers a little bit more, Sungjin's channel, especially like his like the earlier ones on there, because most of the guys were still in the military at that time. So he was the only one doing Day6 stuff because he was the only one who could do stuff because he was in the military. So if you want to like see, they're funny. But like that Jones, his stuff, he had like a couple of things come out. He did debut as a soloist too. So it, like, you know, maybe check that out because, you know, we might as well like hear. He's not a singer, but he has actively been taking lessons and he's trying really hard. You know, he has some lines in like random songs and stuff, but he did a song with Song Hee-jin and it's called Out of the Blue.
It's
so
really
like you
cute.
could check that out.
It
is very cute. And it's not even like it's a singer soloist song. It's not a drummer soloist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Though he does play the drums in the live version video that they made. He's doing both. He's, you know.
Yeah, of course, because so on his drum.
He's drum.
And then, he's drum. And again, with Jay, like, he's definitely, like, he just came off of a tour. He's been doing some fan stuff, and he just came out with some songs, and he's been actively writing songs, too, and still doing stuff like that. So if you are wanting to kind of check out him as well, he is still actively out there. He also still does Twitch stuff a lot. It's just very sporadic because he's been, you know, going around and touring, so he hasn't been home. But yeah, that's what Day6 is up to now, and how they're doing. And
come back in a couple more years for like the next Day6.
We'll do like a version 3.
Version 3, who knows?
And like, look at it. How perfect was it that I like decided to have this birthday episode this like recording, and then
they're coming out.
They did it 18th.
Yeah,
and like, come back. I just knew it.
So what is your? Because I know that you've. Because I saw it on Twitter, but like your predictions for your favorite. Because what are your predictions?
Okay. I don't remember their like names, but one of them, like, I feel like one of them you could figure out would be a prediction of like a Jessie song, like just listening to the there's a like a sampler that they did. It's all musical. It's no lyrics and stuff. The lyrics one is happening, you know, today, Thursday, when we're recording this, or yes, Friday morning, whatever. Time zones are weird. One has this like very like
the gothic sound. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also like I tend to really like songs that Sungjin writes, and I don't know that they're the songs that Sungjin writes until after, and I'm like, oh, because he writes the really sad songs, like the really, and I'm into like the emo boy, like Afraid, which I didn't talk about. Oh my god, Afraid was like the best thing about that happened like during the pandemic.
I looked at how many views or how many likes and views that has, and I was like, I wonder how many of these is Jessie.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Okay, so here's how it went down. Everything happened. This is back when, I don't remember if Jay was still a part of JYP, but Jay had already moved out of the dorms and was doing stuff. And he was on Twitch one day. He was talking about things. And I think he was just talking about like the songs on the album. And he was talking about how Afraid came to be. And it was this whole thing about like, it was one of their song camps. And it was one of the things that Sungjin wrote during this song camp. And he came back with it. And he played it for everybody, and everybody in the room was like, oh my God, you're going to do a solo. This is your solo song. This is it. This is it. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it as a solo. He was like, I'm only going to do it with a group. And everybody's, but like, no, seriously, this is like the most amazing thing we've heard. Like, you have to do this as a solo. And then he ended up not doing it as a solo. It was on the album. It's my favorite song. And it was my favorite song even before I knew this like whole story. And so then Jay was like, there's the guide for it, which if you don't know what a guide is, it is the song that's been recorded so that like you as the singer can listen to how it's supposed to go to like help with your like training, so you don't have to like be on the piano like actually like doing it yourself, and you can also kind of see like the inflection on like some of the words and stuff like that. So like Jay was like, he has a guide for it too. You should ask him to post the guide for it. And Jay kept bringing it up constantly. He's like, pester him for this guide. And finally, after like a year of everyone pestering him and Jay, like continuously like talking about it, Sungjin finally released the guide to it. It's amazing. Like you listen to it and you're like, that's why they all were like, this is your solo song.
Gorgeous.
Like, you listen to it, you're like, yeah, it's so good. It's all because of Jay. Oh my gosh, like this is like reminding me of like some of the funniest things. This is like why I'm sorry, I'm bringing this into this like podcast, but I'm very pissed off about things that like happened with Jay, because there were such good times that happened when he wasn't like in the dorms, but he was like doing Twitch stuff that was still Day6 stuff. Because like one of the funniest things that Jay did, he was on Twitch and Sungjin went on live, and like everybody posted in the comments on the Twitch, he was like, hey, like Sungjin went on live. And I was there for this entire thing. I was watching Jay when like Sungjin went on live, and so Jay was like, okay, let's put Sungjin on. And so he like brings up Sungjin while he's still playing his game and puts him up, and then Jay just starts translating everything that Sungjin is saying. But then Jay starts getting people to talk to Sungjin and ask him questions so that he could get answers for it. And they're like, so then they're just like back and forth, like making fun of each other and like saying things. And like, it's all through comments from one person to the other. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun, like watching that. Jay got like a wand pill on to play a game with him, this like silly, crazy game that I can't remember the name of it, but like, it's like you are these like humans that like don't have like any like function in your body. Have you seen Natalia? Where it's like they're all
basically like ragdolls, and you gotta like somehow navigate around. Yeah,
like you have to like move around stuff, but like once you stop, you like collapse. It's like a body without bones, and it was so funny because Monville and Jay were so bad, and then they kept on like throwing each other off of like the cliffs and stuff. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like that whole entire time, like it was like the worst time, but like also it was like so much fun, like with like Jay being where he was and was like constantly, and like Jay was like constantly talking about like some of like the behind the scenes stuff of like the albums. He did a viewing party of the Where the Sea Sleeps, which was the first Even of Day thing, and like it was just such a like a good time but not good time. That I mean, there are clips of that too. Like, there's definitely those clips out there, so you can like definitely see his whole full thing where he's like messing with Sungjin while Sungjin's on live, and then Sungjin's also just messing with him, and then like Jay starts just like translating it wrong and be like, "Oh, Jay's the best person in the world, and he's my favorite member."
Cute.
Yeah. Sorry, I could talk about Day6 for a very long time.
I'm trying to remember, and I feel like we covered this in the first episode, but like I don't remember because it's been years now. Didn't they rechart? Was it Congratulations? Like, which they recharted with something.
Oh, they've been recharting a lot of their songs, especially like recently. You Were Beautiful started recharting again. Time of Our Life started recharting again. Love Me or Leave Me started charting, which Love Me or Leave Me is a B-side. but that like started charting. It just like especially like once they came out of military, like all of them, like it was very clear that people were like, okay, Day6 is back, and it looks like they're actually going to be back and doing stuff, and like it seems like it's actually going to be a true thing, like because before it was like, I mean, like even like a year ago, it like you're like
felt very up in the air.
Real? Like, yeah, you just didn't know, and like Day6 is like they have a good fan base, but a lot of their like songs are very much the popular, like just general, like, you know, people, and like a lot they have like a huge fan base in Indonesia too. Like so like they're like so it's very hard to kind of like figure out where they are in popularity because of all these like kind of things. But like ever since it was like, okay, now they're back for real, people were like, yeah, like 5 years has been enough or whatever. 4 years, whatever it is, it's been enough. We kind of need more Day6 music in our lives.
Well, I feel like there was like way before the pandemic, or it might have been like right at the, I think it was before, it was either Korea or Indonesia. Like there was a video of, it was this club or something, and everyone was singing.
Yeah, that was You Were Beautiful.
You're Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then like that video went viral, and then it like caused even more charting at the time.
Yeah.
Like it even made the song like re-popular because everyone like could sense the emotion of that crowd, and then more crowds kind of did it after that. It was just, it was a cool moment in time.
You know what?
That.
We've all been in that position where that song is very meaningful to us at that moment. You know what I mean? Like, you can think of a moment where when you hear that song and you're like, yep. Yep. So does since we last visited Day6 with Even of Days and their solo stuff, what are some people's faves that have come out since that time?
I really like Love Parade by Even of Day a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, I love the vibes of like all, like it's very, you can put just, I often listen to entire albums, honestly. I don't usually, if I'm in the mood for an artist, like I'll just listen to entire albums of them. Yeah. So like I like the general vibes of stuff, but I really enjoyed Love Parade.
I mean, like Afraid came out, like things happened. So Afraid is like all time favorite Day6 song. But like even like for Even of Day, Where the Sea Sleeps, that's just that in the music video.
I have that written down as one of mine as well. Yes.
Yeah, it's just
it's so good.
It gets you that like animations. You're like, oh my god! I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, no, why are you doing this to me? This is so sad. This is so hopeful.
There's this one song. It's not even on Spotify that I can find, okay? And the title...
Oh, I know what you know.
The title is only in Hangul, okay? And I even put the Hangul title, and it shares the title with the song by Cool from way back in the day. It's not, but it is not like a remake of that song. Like, it's not a cover.
Yeah.
And it I put it through like Google Translate, and it translates to Darling on the Beach, okay? And it is the least Day6 song that has ever been made by Day6. But it is such a fun little bop, and the music video is corny as hell, and I'm here for it.
Reminds me of something that like 17 would do,
or
and Flying would do, like easily.
Like it's goofy, it's silly,
it's super
like,
goofy.
It's over the top. It basically the plot seems to be Young K and Wonpil are both after this girl who has no interest in them, and Dawoon is confused as to what's going on. And then a guitar was there, and Dawoon has some maracas, and it's all on a beach, and it's just fun. But yeah, when the sea sleeps. Their beach related filmography really spoke to me. What can I say?
Oh, but like Young K's solo Guard You is so good. Like I'm so obsessed with that song.
I really loved he did a song called Microphone that featured DVWN, so who I assume is pronounced Dawn, but like it's not the other Dawn, it's DVWN. It's really good as well.
It is good.
How about
I
you,
like
Amanda?
a lot of his I like a lot of Young K's like collaborations that he's done, like like there's a song called Love with Ex-Lovers, and What a Wonderful Word by with Park Moon-chi. So like I really like those. One of the things I've discovered since like the military time and stuff is that Sungjin is my like secret bias. Like Young K is my bias. Like I realize that he's like the glue that holds it together for me. So I'm like, oh, like nothing against the Even of Day stuff. It's good stuff. But like none of it like spoke to me, and I was like, I don't get it. Like, why is it? And then I was listening to the like Afraid like guide, and I was like, oh, it's Sungjin.
Oh, it's that.
It's just
Sungjin's got a voice.
Yeah.
I deeply in love with Sungjin. Like,
I just remember when Sweet Chaos came out. And then I was just like, take me away, Sungjin. Yeah. Take me away.
Sweet Chaos.
No, take me away, sir. Because listen, him on that, like, his voice on that.
If you want some really good Sungjin vocals, the Japanese releases, gosh, so good.
It's always so fascinating to me how different. Especially when it comes to specifically K-pop bands. Okay. K-pop idol bands, their Japanese releases are always just...
They're so good. They're just
sick
so
as hell.
good.
What can we say?
And that's like a big thing that happened during the COVID stuff. Warner Brothers, like, they canceled their contract with Day6. So Day6 does not have a Japanese contract, which is devastating to me because still to this day Unlock is my favorite album that like they have. Then that's their Japanese. Like their Japanese is so good, and I'm very hopeful that like maybe like the resurgence of like their popularity will finally put them back on. Hopefully. Because every other like person in JYP has a Japanese contract because JYP like prioritizes that because that's like the biggest music center, and also they love JYP groups. I'm like, just give me back. I just want to be able to listen to Finale late. Like I want that to happen.
We all do.
I want more Japanese songs too.
Oh, and one thing that we didn't like re-mention, we definitely talked about this like the first go around with Day6, but Day6 is every idol's favorite band. I just need people to understand that. Like, any group, any K-pop group, it has at least one or two Day6 stands in it. Deeply. Not just a little. Deeply.
Yeah.
Like, when they're, like, in, like, a thing where it's, like, a bunch of different groups all at once, and, like, Day6 is there, and then it's, like, at the end... and all the groups are on the stage and stuff, and then Day6 plays, watch the like faces of every single like idol that's on that stage, because they all know all the words to every song of Day6, and they're all just like jamming out to that. And that doesn't happen with like any other group. It really doesn't.
Like even Plave, like Noah from Plave, he is so deeply a Day6. Like any moment he can cover Day6, like that's what he's doing. Like that's his big thing, and he always brings them up all the time. So I always think it's fun. Like, you know, some older K-pop groups, it's like, oh, those are the idol. Like they say that about like TVXQ, but then like Day6 is definitely the band that all the idols.
The idols band. Like, Well, this has been Jessie's birthday episode. Feel free to reach out to her and wish her a slightly belated, because her birthday's actually on the 15th. Beware. You know, send her a little HBD on the old Twitter. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. You can listen to us wherever podcasts can be found, but you can also go to our YouTube channel because we have we're in video now since November. We've been doing video. Doing our best, you know. We're just doing our best.
So and subscribe if you're watching us there.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Tell your friends to come subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we're legally obligated to say as YouTube content creators. But you can also go to our website, certifiednoonas.com, to see every episode with links and time codes to what we're talking about. If you want to support this podcast, you can take your little keysters down to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to join the Certified Found family. They're a found family on the web. We think they're fantastic. They keep the lights on and they support us and they're great and they get extra little mini episodes and movie nights. It's super fun. We have such a good time with the Found family. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. As we always say, keep wearing them masks, keep washing them hands, and I don't know, maybe go listen to some Day6 this week and check out their new comeback. Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.